The NFL announced harsher penalties for taunting. So I want to know, what do you think about the new rules?
I never taunted. I danced, I celebrated, but I would never belittle my opponent. Contrary to what people think, I've never spoke negativity to anybody. I've never spiked the ball in anybody's face. I've never said, hey, man, I'm going to dog you. I'm going to do this to you. I've never said that. Now, I high step. I dance. I put the hand behind the head, and I look back at it. I think they're looking back at it nowadays as well. But I look back at it just to see what I was doing and just having a good time. That's just what I want. I tried to bring joy to the game, but I never tried to belittle or downgrade my opponent. I didn't believe in that. I didn't grow up in that era.
So, I can't let you leave without asking you about the Cowboys and Dak. And the reason I want to ask you is because Dak, is returning from injury, but there seems to be even more eyes on him than usual and on the Cowboys in particular.
Yeah, he got paid. That's why eyes is on him, because he got paid. And when you receive, people expect. Trust me, anytime in life, if somebody gives you something, they expect something. So we expect a lot from Dak. We expect a lot from Zeke. We expect a lot from the defense. They revamped that, supposedly had revamped that. But you got to think about Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is one of the dear friend, but one of the best marketers I've ever seen in my life. How in the world, every year, we expect the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl? How in the world does Jerry manage to do that? With all the teams in the country right now, we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys.
Darn Cowboys.
Brilliant. He's brilliant. And I love him. But Dak Prescott is a guy that I adore. I even tell my son, Shador, who's the quarterback, watch some things that he can do, because he can really do some things well. And Dak is a stand-up guy. I look forward to the Cowboys having a good season. I don't know about great, but a good season.
Good. Can I just ask, what do you mean by good, though? Give me. Where do you think they're gonna? Come on.
They'll win 10 games. I think they'll win 10 games.
What about the division? Do you think they win the division, make the playoffs? What are your thoughts on that?
That division is garbage. That division is horrible. So if you win the division, what you gonna win after that? A trip to get beat down? What is that? It's only about 3 or 4 or 5 teams that can really win it all. They're not one of those teams, but you never know what could happen because of what Tom Brady did with Tampa Bay last year. Tom Brady gave everybody hope, man. He really did. He made everyone believe, hey, man, you can do this. But everybody don't have a Tom Brady.
So what do they need? Because that's the thing, because we've been talking about the Cowboys, and you're right, like Jerry Jones is brilliant. He has this way of having everybody talk about something that's probably not going to happen. But, man, you've been an analyst. You know the game. You study the game. You've played the game. You played for Jerry. You played for the Cowboys. What are they missing? What do they need in order to get to be one of those 3 or 4 or 5 teams that can win it every year?
How much time do we have? How much time?
Oh, we got as much time as you need.
You have as much time
as you need.
Hey, let me tell you, first of all, let's address the defense. The defense was hot garbage. How can we just sit up there and go straight to Dak and the defense was hot, smoking garbage? I mean, garbage. So let's start right there from the front. Defense to the front, to the secondary that does not take away the ball, that does not provoke turnovers whatsoever. The bright point of that was the linebacking core, and they stuttered quite a bit last year. Then when you talk about the offensive side of the ball, the line has to protect Dak and block for Zeke. Now, which one you going to do? I don't think they're at the age and stage that they could do both successfully, where you could protect Dak and run the ball successfully. That's not. It's going to be one or the other. And as we saw last year when Dak was rolling, he was throwing for 500 yards a darn game because they're playing catch-up football, and he was just dishing it out. That formula is not going to work with them. They got to turn around and be able to hand that ball to Zeke 20 to 25 times a game and let it be what it is. And keep the defense off the field, because in almost every building you're in, this wonderful building in Jackson State, it's a few signs that say, in case of emergency, break the glass. On defense, the glass is broken in Dallas.
So do you think, and I mean, you're totally right. Like because anybody who watches football and knows football knows that. But then they got Dan Quinn. Do you think that Dan Quinn is the answer? Do you think Dan Quinn can come and fix the glass?
Yet. The only coach I ever seen try to make a play was Woody Hayes. He's the only coach that jumped on the field and actually tried to make a play. Dan Quinn ain't on the field. He ain't on the field. It's these guys, man. I'm never one to blame a coach. It's being a coach right now. I'm definitely not one to blame a coach now. But these guys, man, what they put in the kitchen, what they put on the field, it's not adequate to win it all. Not at this point.
But you were a coach, right? So, Coach Prime, so you're a coach, so you know what coaches need. Like, what does Dan Quinn need to do to get the players ready, or do they have the wrong players? They need different players? Like, what needs to happen?
On paper, a lot of things look good until you say hut. A lot of things look great until you say hut. I just got off the damn practice field, going off, yelling and screaming. Everything looks great until you say hut, until they start being fatigued and you start seeing, so this is who you really are. Okay. So let me turn up the heat a little bit because I got to flush this out to make sure I can understand who you're going to be in Miami on September 5th against the FAMU rally. You see how I flipped that thing around back to the game?
Yeah.
I want to see what we're going to be on September the 5th for Jackson State University. Yes, baby, HBCU football at its best. And we do have some dogs that I expect to go pro. Never will the SWAC or the HBCUs have another year with not one kid gets drafted into the professional ranks. That was the last year. That would never happen again. I'm vouching for that.
I'd love to see that. You're talking about dogs, right? I want to know, is there any athlete in professional sports right now that you watch and think, okay, this person absolutely could be a two-sport athlete like I was?
Yeah, LeBron could do it.
Oh,
LeBron could do it. LeBron could play he could play receiver in football for certain. Football players really can't do the basketball thing, not at that level, because those guys are like greyhounds running up and down the court. Shoot, I would say KD, but KD was a little slim. But I would put him in the red zone and then just run the fade. It's some bigs that can probably play tight end in the league, but I don't know about the physicality. But it's different cut athletes. You know, back in the day, the AIs and those kind of guys, they don't make them like that anymore, man. That was an era that had something special. It was some special athletes in that era.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.